What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and today we'll be going over how I made this Rick Owens Cyclops boot. Now this will be a beginner's tutorial, so if you're new to Blender or you've been using it for a couple months, this is a perfect tutorial for you to start your 3D footwear journey. Now, as I said, this will be a full walkthrough with little to no cuts, so you should be able to follow along if you have basic knowledge and understanding of Blender's base tools. Alright, to start off, we'll start off with the sole, how to create that. Then we'll move on to the midsole. We're calling this the midsole. Then we'll work on the upper. So with that being said, let's hop into the video. Alright, so hopping into Blender. If you see that my layout looks a little bit different, don't worry. It's just that I changed the viewport color. Alright, so to begin with this, let's just make this a little bit bigger. All we want to do is import our reference images. Now, if you do want to follow along with me, go ahead and check out my Patreon where I'll be dropping all the reference images for free. Let's go ahead and go to reference. Then we want to go to the top down view and import our image. Alright, so once we have our reference images, let's go ahead and line them up. Scale it all the way down to their fitting. So for the sake of the show, all we're going to use is a simple cube. So let's go ahead and import that. And I'm going to fit it down. So using the cube, let's go ahead and scale it. In X-ray mode, we're going to look at it. Okay, make sure that it fits. So let's go ahead into edit mode and bring these points back. Here we go. Drop those down. All right, so let's make sure that it's lining up with our bottom reference also. Okay, perfect. So going back into orthographic view. So what I like to do is also just duplicate this reference image so we can see, what's going on with the shoe. Observing the model right now, you can see that we have a couple angles. We have this angle right here, then we have this angle, and then also this angle. So that's where we're going to put our points in. Using the loop tool, which I have as a shortcut, but if you just click your tab and go down, the loop tool is right here. So we're going to take that all the way down. Now, one trick that I like to do when working on my model is actually go into wireframe mode so we can actually see what's underneath. So let's go ahead and just move these to where we want it. Now we just need to move these. Okay, make sure that we're seeing both of these. Highlight both of them and just move them over. If you look over here, you can see that it's moving both points and not just one point. And let's add another cut. Bring this one down. Okay, let's look at it top down. Okay, we just need to, there we go. Boom, just move it like that. All right, so now that we have the side view complete, let's go ahead and adjust it so that it fits the sole pattern. So we're gonna put a loop cut right here. So instead of beveling, let's go ahead and just bring this down just a little bit. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna extrude it. So E to extrude. So now you should have something that looks like this. The midsole, we're going to actually duplicate this top face. So Control D, and then we're going to separate it. There we go. Now, once we separate it, let's go ahead and go into edit mode. Now, we can add a subdivision modifier to this right there. All right, perfect. Then we just want to shape this to an actual foot. So I'm also looking over here so that these line up with each other. All right, so what we want to do is extrude it up. All right, so once we do that, let's go ahead and shut off the subdivision modifier. Go to wireframe. Now, in order to find the wireframe, you want to go down to your view, visibility, viewport display, wire. So let's just go ahead and line these up. All right, so once that's lined up, so what we're going to do in order to get these, we're going to extrude it out. Then we're going to scale it in. Extrude it one more time and then extrude it to get that little small bit right there. There we go. And then we're going to extrude it one more time while adding another loop cut. There you go. All right, so if we look in this view, let's go ahead and make a couple adjustments. So with that top face that we extruded, let's go ahead and scale it down. And then now we can start moving points to better adjust to the reference image. So now once we turn on our modifier, you can see how it looks. All right, so not too bad. Let's go ahead and add a loop cut down to give it that shape. Let's add another one back here. And then we could do another one in the front also, just to better the shape out. There you go. Now we could play around with these and just bring it in just a little bit more. Bring that up. All right, so sometimes the shape of the shoe gets messed up. So let's just go ahead and adjust that. One around boot. There you go. Just bring that in just a little bit. Then since we moved all that, let's move it all back. Make those adjustments. All right, so now once we have the sole and we also have the midsole, let's go ahead and start working on the upper. Now, the same thing how we duplicated the top of the sole is the same thing we're going to do to get the upper. So let's go ahead and duplicate this bottom face. Just turn off this off. There you go. Just select everything. Control left click. You'll be able to click multiple selections. So what we want to do is Shift E, right click, P for selection, and now we have a new selection. Let's go ahead and make it new. Hit A to select everything. Now I want to extrude all of it all the way to the top, and then just adjust these. Gonna put this point up right here, this one all the way up, and also extrude these ones. Extrude it up, hitting E, and just rotate that. There you go. Bring those in. So now you should have something that looks like this. It's called a slash number key. But let's go ahead and delete the top. All right, delete faces. There you go. And then we also want to put just one more down, so the bottom is sharp. So let's go ahead and move on to working on the leather. So we're just gonna duplicate this, just save a copy, and then let's go ahead and start working on this. So we're gonna remove the solidify modifier for now and just apply the subdivision modifier. So now once we have the subdivision modifier plugged in, let's go ahead and start making some adjustments. Let's go ahead and bring that down. What we're basically doing is cut out this piece and cut out this piece, and also cut out a back section. Okay, so what I like to do is line these up. Could bring this down like this, but that's gonna create a point. So what we're gonna do is just gonna make a cut with the knife tool. Let's make it on the other side. Or you can just hit J. All right, so let's continue. And we're gonna take this whole bottom half and just slide it over. Slide that down just a little bit. Hold on. There you go, slide down just a little bit. I also want to slide this one down, because this is what we're going to use for splitting this part off. Okay, so let's go ahead and match these up too. So what we could do is just hit J. And on the back side, hit J also. There it goes. So now we got these points where we can move. So right now we're going to be splitting into 3 pieces. We actually want to select everything. So easier way could just be C, circle select. All right, so once you got that all selected, let's go ahead and separate it. So P, right by selection. Okay, that's one piece. Now before we do that, let's add another subdivision surface. There we go. And you also want to add a solidify modifier. Let's put it before. There we go. Subdivision and solidify. Want to solidify and on top. All right, so now that we got that piece complete, let's go ahead and work on the other piece. Let's turn off modifiers for now. This needs to be just a little bit inward like that. There you go. Now we just want to make sure that we have everything selected. All right, perfect. Now P, selection. All right, so now we have our 3 pieces. Okay, looks good. Now we just need to make a couple more adjustments to this. So what we need to do is the pieces that are layered on top of each other. So this geometry needs to go behind this, and this one needs to be on top of this one also. There you go. That up. A lot. Make sure we do that for this one also. Boom. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually loop select this. So alt click, we have all of them. What we're gonna do is we're gonna move them back like this. Boom. offset this just a little bit. So now it's in front a little bit more. All right, so we definitely need to clean this areas up. Okay, that's perfect. Let's add a loop right there. Make sure we clean this area. We go J. You know, we want to practice having clean geometry. All right, so now what we need to do is for this piece up here, you need to select these bottom ones, and we just need to move them forward. And then move them in. There we go. So now this piece is beneath that one. Now we need to bring it beneath this one also. So let's go ahead and do that for this side also. And bring this one down. Then we can take the bottom edge. So if you click one point and then you click another point, you can scroll down. So now what we need to do is basically push these vertices down, and okay, actually that will work. Maybe we just bring it in just a little bit like that. There we go. Now we gotta work on these. All right, then bring these back down. There we go. Then move this forward. That's perfect. Now, if you've been following along, you should have something that looks like. So as you can see, we're getting very, very close to the final product. You know, just with a final more tweaks, and we should be good. Now we could also, what I like to do is go into, hold on, edit mode, sculpt mode, G, brush size a little bit, and just sculpt this out till it looks a little bit better. And also, one thing that I've learned is just to put a couple dents in your model. It'll give it more realism when you start to texture it. There you go. You just want to add subtlety. Small little dents. Not too noticeable, but enough to catch reflections. All right, so let's go ahead and fix this area up here. Just add a loop cut, slide that over. So instead of a loop cut going down, we just need a loop cut going up. And always check your model in different matte caps. Okay, that's perfect. So if you've been following along, you should get something similar to this. Now let's go ahead and complete the model with the stitching and a couple more details. All right, so let's go ahead and work on this back little flap right here, which is very easy. What we're gonna do is select this, and we're just going to just like that. Select all of that, Shift D, P, selection, and then we're gonna go ahead and select it again. Offset, there you go. It's that easy. But as you can see in our back pair, it goes all the way down to here, which is mad easy to do. So what we're gonna do is just go back to edit mode. Alright. Let's go ahead and select the bottom. So what we want to do is want to go out, then down. So extrude it out. All right, so we're going to bring that up just a little bit. So you want to go out, in, all the way down. So what you can do is just, what I like to do is just go all the way down. Just turn off subdivision modifier. And then just add a couple loop cuts. So you should get a menu like this and just add a few. Perfect. Now you could just select that. Now make sure when you're selecting this that you're in X-ray mode. You can click this little button right here. Because if you're not in X-ray mode, sometimes you can only select one side of your model, and you don't want that. we got right here. There you go. Boom. So now if we turn our modifiers back on, there you go. All we need to do is just adjust these points just a little bit. There you go. But you don't want these gaps right here, so let's go ahead and bring it back down. All right, so let's add a loop cut right here, and then want to take these bottom edges and extrude them right there. So now we have that little indent. I'm telling you guys, like when you're modeling these sneakers, the small little details is what makes it believable. Just by having that small little detail adds so much to your model. All right, so now that we got that back tab, let's go ahead and work on this little flap that's in the air. So you're gonna go ahead and tab. Let's turn off the modifiers. And then you wanna go up a little bit. Just follow, basic pattern. Boom, boom, boom. All right, there you go. Modifier back on, and what you can do is now just adjust it. All right, so now that we got that back tab situated, let's go ahead and move on to the stitching. So let's make sure we're not missing anything. We got the sole, midsole, got the upper looking nice and crispy. Got that little back strip in the back, and then what we can do is just bevel small little bevels in between. It's not necessary, but it definitely does make it look more realistic. A workaround. So what we're gonna do for the stitching, let's start with this panel right here. All right, let's make sure that they're all even. Let's fix this one. All right, so now what we can do is that we're gonna select all of these, make sure it's good, and then we're gonna bevel it. Control B, Control B. Okay, that's perfect. Now we just need to go ahead and make a small amount of refinements to the shape. So let's go ahead and just slide these over. Just a little bit, like that over. The bottom won't matter that much since we won't be seeing it. But we want to make sure that this line in between each other is very even. So let's slide this over and then bring this down, bring that out like that. So once you got the lines looking very similar, what we want to do is we want to make sure that the space in between each line is even. So let's go ahead and add some loop cuts. So if you don't know where your loop cut tool is, just click this little button over here, scroll down, and it'll be right here. I changed the shortcut to Control 5 because I'm using shortcuts on my mouse, but you should be able to find the loop cuts right there. So what we want to do is make this even. So let's see how this is even. So actually let's just add 2. So we're gonna add 2 loop cuts right there, and that's perfect. Gonna add 3 right here. Let's look at it. Make sure that it's lining up. Once we turn on the subdivision, you can see that our lines do get a little messed up. So we're just gonna add another one, and then we're gonna select these. All right, perfect. But before we actually go any further, let's go ahead and look at our reference one more time. Okay, and see, does these match up? Okay, that's not too bad. That's something that we can work on. Just making sure that everything is good before. All right, perfect. So now what we could do is hit by selection, and then we can go ahead and delete this, and we can apply the modifiers. All right, now as you can see, because we had the subdivision modifier, there's a lot of back faces also. So one thing that we need to do is delete the back faces. Get out of this viewport. All right, so we have to delete this one and also this one. So hit delete vertices. Now you should have a perfect ring around your selection. Let's go back. So as you can see, this is where our stitches is going to be. And we do need to do some minor adjustments so that it fits perfectly. But other than that, it does look pretty good. So let's go ahead and move on to the next steps. So we need to delete this bottom because we don't want to waste any geometry. Vertices, there we go. Also delete this one, delete that one too. Nothing's looking off. All right, so you want to hit A, and then what we want to do is make small little gaps in between each vertex point. So we're going to do that. Control Shift B, just slightly do it. There we go. Now, once we have this, now what we can do is select these little small gaps. You want to select one, and then Shift G, which will bring up your select similar, and that's how you get length. And then you just want to bring this down to make sure everything's selected. So now that we got everything selected, you just want to do a turnaround and make sure that everything is good. And then we're going to go ahead and delete these edges. So now you should have something that resembles stitches like this. So a way that we can add geometry is by using the skin modifier, skin, and you get something that looks like this. Now, if you hit A and you go to your skin modifier and you hit mark root, now you see that we have geometry. But as you can see, that is just too much. So a way that we can scale this down is while we're in edit mode, you can hit Control A and just scale them all the way down so you get something that resembles stitches. So Control A, there you go. All right, that's perfect. So you want to go back. So let's go ahead and edit mode and use proportional editing. We're just gonna grab some points and move them along. All right, so one thing that might help with this, let's turn on snapping. So we need to do face. We could do face project. There you go, just move it to the side a little bit, rotate it. All right, perfect. That will clean that up. Now, after you got your skin modifier on, what you want to do is add a subdivision. So once you got this subdivision, that's going to round everything out for you. Let's go ahead and move forward to the front piece right here. So it's the same concept that we're going to do. We're going to duplicate it, make sure snapping is off, and then we're going to isolate it. So what we need is here all the way up. So we're going to do one loop cut right here, and then we're going to do another loop cut right there, and then we're going to do a loop cut right here. Actually, let's do this. This is what we're going to do. We're going to turn off the modifiers first, then do it. All right, perfect right there, and then one right here. So now we're going to select, not going to select all of them. So we're going to, so now that we have that, just want to make sure, and we're going to hit Control B. All right, perfect. And let's see how it looks. It's a little too close to the edge for me. So I'm gonna add a loop cut right down the middle. All right, perfect. And then I'm gonna select this also, see how it looks. All right, perfect. Now we also need to do that on this side also. We're gonna select, perfect. Now we're also gonna select them on this side too. Make sure everything is selected. All right, let's see how the viewport looks. We're gonna have to do some cleanup right here, but that's fine. So let's go ahead and P, selection. All right, then delete this top piece. Now we got this part, right? So we need to apply all and then delete this back face. All right, there we go. Perfect. Now let's look and see how it looks on the boot. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. It's running along the line how we want it. Perfect, perfect. All right, so now A, they're gonna shift Control B. All right, so let's zoom in so we can see what we're doing. Shift Control B, Shift Control B, and then we just need small little gaps. Perfect, like that. Then you want to go to edge mode, select the gap, and hit Shift G. All right, so once we got this cleaned up, just double check that everything is good with your model, and then we just want to delete these again. So delete edges. I should have something that looks like this. Make sure that there's no duplicated faces. So add a skin. There we go. A, mark root. Control A. Now we just want to look at it. Control A again. All right, that's perfect. Now let's see how it looks in the context of everything. All right, bring it down. That's the one. All right, perfect. All right, so now that we have the back panel, front panel, let's go ahead and work on this strip. The strip should be fairly easy. I'm gonna select it, duplicate it, turn off snapping. All right. So what we need to do is let's turn off viewport. So we're gonna add one right here, one right here, and then we're gonna select both of them, scale them in, then hit Control B, and scale them back out. Okay, perfect. See how it looks. Okay, that they may be too far apart. So let me select this one, slide it over, select this one, slide it over. All right, so let's go ahead and apply it. Apply all. So I want the outermost one, and then we want this one in right here. And then what you could do is by selection, then just delete this, go back, because we have the solidify modifier on, we have to delete the back faces, select all of them. All right, hit apply all. All right, perfect. P, selection, delete the other one, go back. Now we got to delete these sides. X. Vertices. All right, perfect. So now we only have the top faces. Now what we can do, make sure everything is good. All right, so what we're gonna do is, because we have all this extra geometry, what we're gonna do is just select these. There you go. Top faces. Hit X. No. Let's invert selection, X, delete vertices. All right, so now we have the back faces, and we need to clean this section up right here. Solve vertices. So now you want to select everything. Shift Control B. Make small little gaps. There you go. Then you want to select that. Same process, honestly. Okay, that's good. That's good. Let's go ahead and fix this. So now that we got that cleaned up, let's go ahead and delete it. Let's go ahead and add a skin. Let's go ahead and Control A, get it all the way down. And then we also need a mark group. Control A. But one thing we could do, since this is a back strap, we could select all of them and then scale them inward just a little bit. Now everything is lining up perfectly. Now let's make the stitches just a little bit smaller. So Control A. Let's just go over what we've got so far. We got the sole, midsole, back panel, front panel, and also the strip in the back. So now, if we look at our reference images, one thing that we need to do is work on the ridges and the sole. So let's go ahead and work on that. So we're gonna isolate the sole and the reference images. All right, perfect. So all these little ridges, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put cuts in between them, right? But before we put the cuts, it's very important that we cut it off so it's not messing up the rest of the geometry. So let's go ahead and make a loop cut, solid, about right there is good. All right, so now what we need to do is go ahead and start making cuts on the bottom. So you want one right there, one right there. All right, we need to cut right here. But we also need to move this cut right here. So guys, select that, slide it down with G. All right, perfect. Now let's start working on these cuts over here. Put one right there. Before we move forward, let's go ahead and delete these. Let's go ahead and delete the top. Dissolve the edges. We need this edge. We need that edge. We also need that edge too. We need this one. Basically, every edge that makes up the structure of the sole, we need to keep. Also, we need to keep these. Boom. All right, so now we can dissolve those edges. So you see what I mean by just cleaning it up. So face, go back to edge mode, remove those. Then we need the structure, dissolve edges. Okay, let's say we did something wrong. All right, like I said, there you go. So we're gonna select this one, every other one basically. This one, we're actually gonna do the first line. So you see how this one is the second line? We need to do the first line. Because if we look at the reference image again, these tooling is going in opposite direction. All right, let's bring that back. All right, perfect. So now if we go to side view and we G and bring these up, we have the tooling that we want. And we can bring it all the way to the line that we made. So now we have that tooling that we want. And it actually looks really good. All right. So back to the final shoe. Let's go ahead and just do a quick review of everything, making sure everything looks good. All right, so one thing that we need to fix is this right here. So let's go ahead and bring that back, bring that up. So after completing the tooling of the sole, your model is finally complete. Now, be on the lookout for part 2 where I'll be texturing this solely in Blender 3D. I'll teach you how to use the node group, how to import images to give you a nice realistic render. And the final thing, after modeling every shoe, I like to look at it in different matte caps just to make sure that nothing is wrong. Everything looks good. Everything is stylish, clean, precise, because that's the type of models that we want to develop. There you go. And then also this one, make sure everything is good. All right, let's look. Oh, snap, the green looks actually looks good. So looking at this model in the green with the orange background, chef kiss. And now you can really see why I said after you're done with your model, go ahead into scope mode and just add a couple more dents. Let's go ahead and do that some more. For example, like the backside, just add a couple more dents into it. Let's have some stuff poking out just a little bit. Maybe not over there. Just some stuff poking in and out. just to give your models a more realistic feel to it. Let's go, maybe bring that in just a little bit. So now when the light catches on it, it'll show a slight indent. There you go, just some slight imperfections. I'm telling you, this will take your model to looking very amateurish to professional just by doing these simple tricks. There you go. Just a little bit more. We bring that in, bring that in. But now you don't want to deform it too crazy where it looks like this. So, all right. So thank you guys for tuning in to the tutorial. I know this was a little long, but I'm telling you, if you just take your time and go through each section by section, you will benefit and learn so much. And one last thing, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. All right, you guys, have a blessed year.